Okay. Hi, my name is Jeffrey Iguna, and this is my HK 243 final project. Just to say, this was a great class, and let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. So my project was based off sports and violence. So first things first, before we even get into all the details of it, what is sports and violence? Sports and violence in the context of how most people understand it isn't necessarily fighting sports, but more so in the sense of how do sports get as violent as they do. Some people, it's like people getting rash, getting so angry, yelling at each other during the sport, in the middle of a game, stuff like that happening. And we're gonna get into the specifics of why that happens. I just wanted to speak on why I chose this topic as well. I chose this because usually I love playing sports. I usually love track, all that other stuff. I just hated how bad the competitiveness per se would get, because I always just like playing things for fun. But then it felt like people were taking things too seriously, for lack of a better words. Not to downplay that there are reasons, because I understand some people love these games and take them very seriously. But to me, it just felt like at the end of the day, this is a game, and like things fighting over it, drawing blood over a game, I don't think it's worth it. But let's get into some of the other things. All right, so this is mostly geared towards the people who this all affects. I said first it affected the players, obviously, because they're the ones playing the game. They're the ones that end up fighting, if more times than not. Then I also said the coaches, because in some instances the coaches do get involved and cause, and even sometimes they even cause the fights. But also because they're the ones that directly influence the players most times than not. And I also mentioned the referees, because sometimes they're the ones that cause the players. Because some referees do their job regularly, some people take it a little far. Like they'll start talking about the player or say get back in your corner, doing a whole lot of. And on top of that, they're the ones that have to clean up the mess after the players start fighting. And I didn't include this on here, but because this is more so for every sport, no matter who you are, what age. But for younger ages, like between middle school and high school, sometimes their parents also get involved because they end up hearing about it. So some of the causes, in one of the sources I looked up, it basically stated that tension, pressure causes like bad people to start, acting rashly and emotional because of, the sport. Other reasons could be because people talk mess to like get into their heads. Perfect example, Michael Jordan. He used to talk mess against his opponents to get in their heads, make them mess up. Stuff like that. And sometimes people take that a little far and end up fighting over it. Some solutions though is this is where the coaches come in. They could help their players. They could tell them to understand that what's going on up here, and to like calm down, relax, realize that it's still a game at the end of the day. They also needs to tell their players, or their parents also need to tell their players, hey, at the end of the day, just take it on the chin. Keep moving. There's always another game. There's always a chance to do better. Now, I do understand for some people, this is like their life. This is how they need to do things. But it should never get to the point where you feel the need that you need to hit another player because you feel overwhelmed or you feel like you're going to lose. It's not worth it. Parents, this is also good details for you that you can tell your kids and stuff like that. And these are some of the statistics, because my thing is with sport, the main reason why I feel like this needs to be spoken about more is not just because of how I feel, but also because some people get taken out of these sports that they love so much and never are allowed to play them again because of how they act based off, the reaction to these small things. So I said one of the statistics that I found was that the average number of game suspensions for general violent offenses was 1.75 like percent. So it's not much. It doesn't happen that often, but it's still something that needs to be talked about. And that's for men, mind you. The average number of game suspensions for violence against women was 4.08. So it can get very bad sometimes. But that's the project. These are my references. Thank you so much for listening.